Guys, we're back. Okay, and now it's time for our Have You Heard segment. And every week we share an interesting development, story, or event from the diaspora. This is a good one this week because this week we're asking, have you heard of Cameroon's amazing Igbo forest? Alex, have you?
No, but I want to.
Okay. On all the work that's been done to preserve it. And have you heard the Hollywood's Leonardo DiCaprio is getting the credit for all that work? Well, let's talk about it. Okay, so earlier this month, Leonardo DiCaprio gained a new namesake in the form of a tropical tree from Cameroon. The first plant species named in 2022 by the UK's Royal Botanical Gardens, the Kew Gardens, is called Uvariopsis DiCaprio, after Leonardo DiCaprio's efforts, quote unquote, to preserve its home in the precious Abo forest. If any Cameroonians are listening, please tell me how to pronounce it. Is it Abo or Igbo? You can call the studio and tell me how to pronounce it. They say he used social media, that's DiCaprio, to revoke a logging concession for the forest in 2020. While no effort should be underestimated, the real heroes in the campaign to save the forest were the local Banin communities. Cameroonians' Abo forest is an intact forest ecosystem with a surface area of more than 2,000 square kilometers, greater than the size of London in the UK. It's a massive biodiversity hotspot, home to forest elephants, drills, gorillas, and Nigerian Cameroonian chimpanzees who fashion tools from stones to crack nuts and sticks to fish for food and are the rarest subspecies in Africa. Those are the chimpanzees. Like any rainforest, Abo is an important carbon sink. It contains an estimated 35 million tons of carbon, and that is about 3 times the annual emissions from passenger cars in London. The forest is also home to more than 40 Banin communities. These communities have been campaigning for their right to return to the forest, from which they were displaced in 1963 during the Dirty War by France's puppet regime against the freedom fighters who had just freed the country from colonial rule. To the Banin people, Abo Forest is their sacred and ancestral land where their dead are buried. In early 2020, Cameroon's government told local communities it had decided to open up Abo Forest for industrial logging. Logging has never advanced any Central African economy, but has instead made a small circle of elites richer and local communities poorer. The government pushed ahead despite the rejection of plans by the Banin communities, the violation of the local forestry law, and the internationally recognized right of local and indigenous communities to give their free, prior, and informed consent. It was Banin leaders who spearheaded the political struggle for Abo Forest from day one until logging plans were indefinitely suspended 6 months later. They did so in tandem with Cameroonian researchers like Dr. Abwe, who has dedicated his life to protection of Abo forests, its biodiversity, and the rights of its communities. The decree to allow felling also violated a 2006 pledge by Cameroon's government to turn Abo Forest into a national park, a plan which was also opposed by communities unsurprisingly, given the disastrous reputation for big budget conservation that has been gained in the region. Okay? Although this was favored by the UK scientists who named Abo's tree after DiCaprio. In a country where loggers and agro-industrial companies have a record of land grabbing and human rights abuses that include sexual assaults, where wildlife conservation has been prioritized over indigenous people, in a country ranked 140th out of 180 countries in the World Press Freedom Index, resistance requires true courage. Standing up for one's rights in Cameroon requires qualities other than posting on Instagram or Twitter from Los Angeles. Leonardo DiCaprio's overall commitment goes far beyond keyboard activism, however, and many environmental activists will agree he deserves an award. Yes, but it's important not to mix up the categories. The Abo Forest drama has never been an American production. Indeed, it involved many well-meaning people and organizations outside of Cameroon, but they have always been extras at best, including DiCaprio. British scientists honoring an American actor for saving a forest in Central Africa through social media posts should have been an anecdote, but is a symptom of what is so wrong. The rainforest is a blessing to communities to the entire world, and anyone is welcome to join in resisting assisting multinational loggers and others who profit from the forest destruction. Hundreds of thousands of people have signed petitions, liked and shared posts, and protests for Igbo forests to be saved. But it was only the local communities' homes that were directly threatened. It was only the local Banyan communities who risked their lives in the struggle. And should authorities in Cameroon dare expropriate this forest in the future, it will be the local communities again who will not acquiesce in its destruction, including its Uvariopsis DiCaprio trees. All right?